Hello and welcome to our video contemplation of day signature 44. This frequency corresponds to the Angel of Wands and the wand essence of power. It is represented by the Angels of Elegance and Partnership. Would you like to share more about those angels?
Yes, I would.
Please do.
So the 22nd Angel of Elegance walks the pathway of poise to become the embodiment of grace. And then the 44th Angel of Partnership walks the pathway of recognition to become the embodiment of merging. Whoa.
Yes. Big whoa. Big day.
Big day.
Right out the gate, we can see that we're dealing with master numbers.
Yes.
The frequency of 44 is a master number for those of you who are not total numerology nerds like me.
And me.
And Laura. Yeah. Like us. What you will find is that any number that is duplicated, like the 4 in this case, there are 2 4s, is known as a master number. So the numbers 11, 22, 33, 44, and so on, all the way up to 99 are recognized as master numbers. There's something about this repeating of the, in this case, 4 energy that takes on a special gravity. Something unique happens in these master numbers in terms of what their frequency represents and how much power it holds. In this case, we're dealing with the frequency of 44 and also the 22nd angel and the 44th angel, 2 major master numbers. Interestingly and excitingly, we also received a master number this morning in our oracle spread. It was the 33. So there's a lot of master number energy moving in this master number day.
Yes.
It's also significant, today is significant for a number of other reasons, which I think we ought to really just kind of lay it all out on the table, what we're noticing.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to share the big news about this day?
That it's a vortex day.
Yeah.
So we've talked about personal vortex days in previous conversations, but this is actually unique because it's a vortex day in general.
Like a collective vortex.
Yeah, it applies across the board to everybody. It is not connected to our personal frequencies, which we would call personal vortex days.
Correct.
But what a vortex day is, it's when you have the frequency of the day that overlaps with another frequency. So in this case, it's a general vortex day because today's frequency of 44 also matches the year frequency, which is also 44. So the whole year is a 44 year.
Yes. Know it or not, we've been living through this particular signature all year long. Now, when we're dealing on the level of the month or the year signature, obviously we're looking at kind of an overarching energy, more of an umbrella set of themes that we are going to be meeting and learning through over the course of that period of time. In the case of a month signature, the month of October, when we're recording this, by the way, is a 54. The month signature of 54 in this case is representative of those themes we will meet in the month of October. For the fun of it, you may enjoy knowing that the keynote for this particular frequency in the month of October is fruition.
Right. It's connected to the 10 of Wands, which is fruition.
Correct. The 44 in this case is the year signature. So the entire year of 2024 is represented by this frequency of 44, and the keynote in this case of power.
Yeah.
Kind of a big deal. And so we've got this overlapping of energies in the year and in this case the day. This is the first official vortex, collective vortex day that we've met since discovering these signatures. Obviously, we've moved through several over the course of this year and we've mapped what those were, and that's really exciting. But this is the first one that we get to meet with awareness.
Yeah. Yes.
And so we've been really looking forward to this day. We've been very excited by everything we've learned and noticed as we met personal vortex days. And we were, frankly, very pleasantly surprised by the intensity and the potency of those particular days and the lessons that we were offered, and even the things in our real life that happened, the shifts that were made, the improvements that were made, the insights that we came to. All of this, they were powerful experiences, but we have wondered if this would feel kind of more or less than that.
Right.
Would it be more intense or more general?
I would say my personal experience.
Go for it.
It's interesting because we didn't expect to record this video later in the day, but we kind of realized that it worked out really well so that we could really experience the energy of the day. And now that it's actually in the afternoon instead of the morning, we definitely have noticed like what this energy has brought, and it has brought a sense of understanding what this general vortex day is. And it's almost like what I've noticed for myself, because that's kind of how I'm applying it, is that it definitely like brought an awareness and an understanding of much longer span of time of life. Like things are coming to fruition, and I have an understanding of basically what my life has been all about leading up to this point.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah. So,
and that understanding is specifically landing in new ways today.
Right.
Is what you're trying to say, right? It's
yes.
like, it's not like that's been developing over time, which of course it has, but specifically today,
right.
major things have been happening for you in particular.
Yes.
For both of us as well. But I would agree. I mean, I get, the benefit of witnessing when that happens.
Yeah.
And it has been unprecedented in this regard today.
Right. Yeah. It's almost like, if we wanted to know what the 44 or this particular frequency is really about, what we were shown is that, my whole life is like telling the story of the 44, sort of. So.
No, that's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah.
Kind of a big deal. We could not have seen that coming. We met the day with curiosity. It's worth being, I think, even more explicit about the fact that this is our 10th video recording these day signatures daily, which is its own kind of
milestone.
Absolutely. It feels that way.
Yeah.
We didn't even realize that until halfway through this morning. But this is the first time in the last 10 days where we've met with you in this format at the end of the day instead of right at the beginning. And the fact of the matter is, well, one, we didn't plan that. That's just how the flow of the day has moved, and we had to make a conscious decision to kind of submit ourselves to the genius of that flow rather than get all bent out of shape that we weren't able to squeeze this recording in. At a certain point along the way, we kind of began to consider that maybe this was on purpose. Maybe life had some kind of a special plan in place, that would permit us to experience this signature before speaking about it. That's exactly what it feels like to us. And the fact of the matter is, we are able to speak to things now, after the hours of this day that we've lived, that we simply did not know at the beginning of the day and never would have been able to communicate had we not waited.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So all of these things are converging on a point, and that point is this day in particular. The idea here is, if this is a template of what Vortex days can do and can feel like and can initiate, if met with understanding and awareness as to what's happening,
right,
our ability to map when those next Vortex days are could be very, very beneficial for any of us who are interested in meeting those days on purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that initial idea certainly has proven to be viable based on our experience today. We're excited to meet the next one, but for now, we'd like to take a few minutes to share with you what we're seeing in this signature and its different elements. In spite of the fact that we've seen so much and learned so much, I think it would be fair to say, at least for my part, that we hit record on this video today with probably less of a sense as to what we were going to share than ever before. I feel like I say that maybe in every video, like we have no idea what we're going to share. But in this case, I don't even know where in the world we would begin. There are things that we've been shown today which are either so subtle or so personal, they may not even have a place in a public video like this one.
Right. It would be too much for me to, share my whole life story, which it kind of feels for me that significant. So, but I definitely think that there's plenty for us to talk about as far as what this frequency is, what the Angel of Wands is, which is a whole exciting brand new character in the tarot.
Yes.
I don't actually think I've not heard of a single other traditional tarot system that has an angel as an archetype. So,
no, this is certainly new.
It's brand new to the Liberated Tarot, which is exciting, and it's the first angel that we are meeting in having these videos. And the angels that this is connected to, we have a lot to say about them.
We do. We have a lot to share. Our commitment in this video is the same as it is every day, I suppose, in this regard. We are here to trust that life will communicate through us everything you, the viewer, most need to hear, and everything we also most need to hear. We joked about it, but it's like, we're going to show up not knowing what to say and then come away totally surprised by what life says through us. Great. We're ready for that. We're excited for that. Because it's a different time of day, you may notice I haven't even been monitoring what's happening here with the sunlight and stuff. Just recognize it as a new texture of the experience. If it's kind of goofy on our faces or something, sorry. We're doing the best we can with this, but actually we love sunlight, so we'll take it. Let's dive in. Let's begin actually with what you just mentioned.
The angel. The
Angel of Wands. What is the Angel of Wands?
Yeah.
Up until this point, we've mentioned the different categories of the Liberated Tarot and how new that idea of categorizing the different members of the tarot in this way really is, not only for us, but for the tarot in general. We've mentioned that there are 4 primary categories: the primes, the nobles, the angels, and the virtues. Yep. We have yet to really speak about the primes. That time will come. We've met all of the nobles in the suit of wands or in the virtue of wands. And now we get to meet the first of 4 angels. The 4 angels are all brand new. This is a part of what makes the Liberated Tarot what we might refer to as an expanded deck.
Yeah. Instead
of 78 cards, there are 86. 8 new additions to the deck. These would be 4 of them. Okay. The Angel of Swords, the Angel of Wands, the Angel of Hearts, and the Angel of Diamonds. Today we meet the Angel of Wands. The angel of any set of virtues is going to describe the essence of that virtue. In this case, the essence of the wands. So as we're contemplating the swords, as we're contemplating the wands and so on, we're sensing into what the general energy of that set of virtues is. And what we find is as we move through all of the virtues of wands, that begins tomorrow with the Ace of Wands, all the way through the 10 of Wands, we're going to find that all of those virtues are some take on the theme of this particular essential value. Right? So in this case, the Angel of Wands is representative of the wand essence of power. Yep. In the swords, we weren't meeting in this way at that time, but the Angel of Swords represented the sword essence of precision. And we did speak about a lot of those sword virtues, and you can really get a sense for the kind of mental precision that was moving in those cases. Here in the wands, we know we're getting out of the mind and into the body of our experience. And so this power has everything to do with motion, with movement. It's a motive power. It's meant to inspire activity.
Yes.
It's very physical. Power equals movement in this context. Okay? So the Angel of Wands is a really special position. It's going to create that umbrella context that holds everything else we're going to meet along the way, and even extends back to kind of absorb or include all of the different nobles, the entire family of nobles that we've already met in the past few days. we're excited about the angel. This is the first time we've worked with any of the 4 angels this intentionally, this consciously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's another contributor to the specialness of this day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we've got the angel. We've got the wand essence of power.
Mm-hmm.
In previous conversations, we've qualified what it is that we mean by power.
Yeah.
I think it's worth repeating.
Yes, absolutely.
Really putting a fine point on what we mean in this context by the word power, especially since today, especially this major theme of power, which is kind of holding the year itself, is, also vital and alive and kind of like focused in the day. So whatever dynamic power we're meeting here, we really want to make sure we understand what we mean by that.
Right.
Okay.
Especially because the word power can actually, for some people, have a really negative meaning.
The powers that be.
Yeah.
The puppet masters or whatever, or like abuse of power.
Exactly what I was going to say. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, this is in no way connected to what we mean by power. There are two primary ways that we would relate to power in this context. The first is one we've already mentioned. It's motive power. Motive power. It's about movement. It's about having the power to act, the will to act. It's tangible. It is active and dynamic. And it's what happens when we become inspired to act. Right? However, beneath this ability to take action, which of course is a capacity that all of us share as human beings, beneath this is power with a capital P. And what we find on this level of power as an absolute thing, as infinity itself, as power as something which is equal to love or God, this power is the very thing that motivates action, is the very thing that motivates this more surface level expression of power. So the two are inevitably linked, ideally. What happens when that link is either ignored or unknown is we attempt to move through life on the sheer force of will.
Yes.
We try to make things happen. We try to kind of push our way through life, right? We all know what this is like. We know the effort involved. We would refer to this not as power, but as force. There's a really cool book that I always enjoy by David Hawkins called Power versus Force, and it's kind of built on this distinction that we're drawing here. Force is effort applied ineffectively in such a way that effort will ultimately exhaust itself. It'll run out of fuel. Power, however, is self-generating. Power is something which is, as we've mentioned, connected to an infinite source that cannot run dry. It is not only self-generating, but self-expanding in such a way that any power applied effectively expands itself. It grows on itself. So any amount of input is amplified to actually create more energy and more power as a result of that input. That's what we're meeting here. Ideally, the wands are representative of the highest possible expression of power. We're not talking about applying effort, trying to make things happen in life. We're talking about coming so close to our personal experience of life with a capital L that we consciously reconnect to that source and move through life in a way that is inspired by that intelligence, by that great power, by that source.
Okay. So would you say you would know the difference because it would feel more effortless?
Absolutely.
To move, or you feel moved by something?
There it is. That's exactly how the angels have said it, I believe. That when you're in contact with this greater power, life moves you. They joked in the one session, it wasn't a joke, but it kind of reads like one, that rather than making mountains move, mountains will move. There's a big difference there.
Yeah.
And so when we're motivated by this power, rather than attempting to force things to happen, we are moved by life in a way that is utterly inevitable, in a way that does feel effortless, and in a way that ultimately produces a greater sense of inspiration, a greater sense of energy. It gives us more. We're not spending It's not like when you spend money and your bank account dwindles. It's when you invest money and it grows. That's the difference. Life is always dealing in investment, not expenditure in this regard.
Mm-hmm.
So something really special happening here on the subject of power in and of itself, and really to consider that we all just kind of found ourselves in this moment, in this year, in this frequency of power. I don't know about the rest of you, but I can without hesitation and without exaggeration say that this has been the most powerful year of my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
That the most significant things that have ever happened for me have happened in this year. For example, we got married. That's a great source of power.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's not only a source of power, I believe it's a direct product of our kind of individual and also shared relationship to this fundamental power.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So power is a major theme. Is there anything else that you'd like to kind of add? Anything I'm forgetting on the subject?
I don't think so. I think it will emerge as we talk about the different angels.
Okay. Let's move on to the angels then.
Mm-hmm.
We know we're dealing with the 22nd angel of elegance, which walks the pathway of poise to become the embodiment of grace itself.
Wow.
And we're talking about the 44th angel of partnership, which walks the pathway of recognition to become the embodiment of merging.
These angels definitely are angels out of the 64 that would require some explanation, I think.
Yeah,
because,
I'd say.
I mean, the words are really interesting, but
what do they mean?
It's not right on the surface, you know?
Yeah, I
agree. And especially the 22nd angel of elegance, out of all the 64 angels, this one it's almost like you get this sense that the body is definitely involved.
Oh, yeah. I love that. And it's true. And it's one of my all-time favorite. They're all my favorite. Come on. Well, every time I'm like, this is my favorite.
If anybody knows you, they know that your favorite word is elegance.
Yeah, so this feels close to home. It is. They all are. But this one, I just love the 22nd angel. It also feels close to home for us because in this year of the 44, we were married. That's a literal embodiment of merging.
Mm-hmm.
It's the expression of partnership.
On the 22nd.
And we were married on the 22nd of February. So the 22, the 44, they've been so special for us. We don't take that for granted. We don't consider that to be random. We certainly didn't know it when we moved into this new year. We certainly didn't know any of this when we were married on the 22nd. But now, all this time later, we're able to connect some dots. And what those dots allow us to recognize, actually, is that all along the way, there has been a guiding intelligence which was aware of all of this, was aware that all of this was coming, was aware that we would be tuned into it and capable of kind of receiving the gift of that surprise down the line. We didn't know. We were clueless. We were trusting each step of the way, but life knew. This, I think, certainly connecting to your insights today and your personal story and everything that's kind of exploded in that area for you. Mm-hmm. It's the same theme of how something about this day redeems the past. Even it redeems our awareness. It opens our awareness to the genius inherent to all these different steps and apparent missteps of the past in such a way that we can see that there is no such thing as failure. There is no such thing as a misstep. There is no waste. There is no loss. There is only orchestration. Yeah. And even when we're clueless, and even when we're trying so hard that we feel like we're just breaking everything we care so much about, life is like, good, perfect, okay. It's doing something.
Yeah.
And we're convincing ourselves that we're some kind of fumbling idiots, when in fact, life is just deftly organizing everything to our benefit. It is fair to say, however, that when we're unaware of what's happening and we feel all of that, we're feeling that because we don't know the orchestration is taking place.
Right.
It's totally innocent, but it's also ignorant. Right. It's ignorant in that we're unaware. But the moment we become aware, we stop feeling like fumbling idiots because we realize that there's a choreographer and we get to participate in the dance.
Yes.
So that's what we're celebrating, I think, today, is that, oh my, whatever may have happened before, life was generous and creative enough to perfectly orchestrate events to get at the moment we now occupy.
Right.
It was all on purpose.
Right. And that knowing, when that knowing lands and you have this awareness that your entire life has been leading you somewhere and every step of the way has been perfect, you stand taller. You have poise. You occupy your space with so much grace
and confidence
and self-assuredness. And it's quite a feeling.
That's the other side of it. That's what happens when we become aware. We didn't see this coming. This particular kind of mic drop awareness. We were contemplating these frequencies and these different elements that contributed to the day, and we were kind of confused and curious. Mm-hmm. But this is what we see now. We can see that this awareness of essentially the partnership that we are invited to engage in with life itself, our recognition of that is the very thing that permits us to begin to engage with life in a whole new, conscious, disciplined, intentional way. And if that's not a pretty perfect definition of the word elegance, I don't know what is. Elegance is grace with intent. Elegance is a disciplined movement. Disciplined not as in like a stranglehold on movement, but a fully self-controlled, fully confident type of movement. It's what happens when a dancer who has mastered their craft moves. Mm-hmm. Whether they're dancing or grocery shopping, there is a control and an awareness kind of inherent to the whole movement, which by now to them is probably second nature. But you read it in every step, and you think, how is it that person looks like they're walking on air? Mm-hmm. It's elegance. It's embodied. And that elegance is embodied and expressed through conscious awareness of your relationship to the environment. That environment, of course, in the physical includes space, objects, the things, the body, and your like distance from those things. Someone who is not elegant might bump into things. Someone who is might dance around things. But that environment also expands to include everyone you encounter.
Yes.
Your whole circle of influence, the greater life beyond that, and that power that holds all of it. Mm-hmm. The moment you realize your relationship to that thing and understand that that thing itself, life itself, is inherently and only good.
Yes.
You can, as Laura said, you can begin to stand differently, move differently, speak differently. You can carry a confidence in the knowing that life not only has your back, but is working to orchestrate all events, all circumstances to benefit you in the long run, to contribute to the expansion of your story and itself as a result.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what's truly happening. So when we talk about partnership, this is clearer to us than ever. We're talking about partnership. We're talking about people.
Yeah.
That's absolutely a part of it, but it's absolutely a part of it in the same way that you're in partnership with air because you're constantly breathing.
It's so much deeper. There's every detail matters.
Every detail.
So it certainly can seem to revolve around relationships and partnerships with people, but
it's so much greater.
It's deeper, and
What I can't help but think of as I'm contemplating this day and the word partnership is kind of the way that I lead into the whole conversation in the Forgotten Sense Level 1. In order to understand everything that we learn in that first presentation, we have to imagine ourselves kind of submerged in this sea of infinite and also intimate relationship. Mm-hmm. Whether we're aware of it or not, every one of us is constantly receiving more information than we could possibly calculate or imagine. Mm-hmm. There is more information, more energy, more data surging into your body right now than you could ever imagine. It is literally infinite. Some part of that you can look at. Some part of that you can smell. Some part of that you can taste and touch and engage with on a sensory level. The vast majority of it is totally invisible to you. I'm talking fast because I'm very excited about this. if you imagine yourself submerged in this sea of infinite exchange, you realize that you are simultaneously influencing and being influenced by infinity itself all the time, from every direction. It's all happening all at once, all the time. That's a pretty intimidating thing to start wrapping your head around. But what it shows you is that relationship is the fundamental factor of existence itself, of movement in particular. There is no movement void of relationship. There is no awareness of existence void of relationship. Everything in life is a function of relationship. So this angel of partnership, I don't know what it will ultimately teach us when the time comes. But one thing we know for sure is it's inviting us to recognize, that's the pathway, our relationship to all of life. To recognize that we are literally in partnership with every last detail of our experience, because every last detail of that experience is contributing to our life, contributing to the growth of that life. That's the guarantee.
Yeah. I mean, as your body is moving through this infinite sea of data, it is receiving, you know?
Yes.
And your body will tell you when you've received some information that is pertinent to you. That's what that recognition is. You'll feel it. You'll feel excited or any number of good feelings, especially if it's leading you on your path.
Absolutely.
So at the end of, you know, a certain length of time, or at the end of your life, you'll look back on certain moments and be like, that was something. I didn't know it at the time, but that was something.
It's cool.
Yeah. So that, I think, is the pathway of recognition is really
absolutely
explained by that.
That's what it is. And it doesn't need to be at the end of your life, because really what we're seeing here is the awareness, the conscious awareness this day invites is it's really about seeing that now.
Right.
Looking back, looking around, noticing, oh my, come to think of it, everything serves a purpose. And all along the way, even when I didn't know it, I was being drawn along this perfect thread of destiny.
Destiny, yes.
And it was all leading me somewhere.
Right.
Certainly it was leading me to now, and will continue to lead me to what comes. And who could begin to imagine what that is, you know? But
one thing is for sure is that those things you love are the important things.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing that's for sure is wherever it leads is further, larger, more beautiful, somehow beyond where you are now. Not because where you are now is bad. Not because where you are now is in any way imperfect. But because perfection, life, beauty, love, all of these things must necessarily, by virtue of their very existence, breathe and expand.
Right.
Growth is the movement, and power is the fuel that achieves that growth. And that's what we're connecting to in this day's energy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you recognize something along the path that really lights you up, that alignment, when that happens, that activates power.
Oh, yes. That's from the angels too, right? Do you remember, just if you don't, it's okay.
I think it's the 49th Angel of Resonance.
About activating power?
Yes, I believe so.
Several of the angels that we've met with 10 as of the time of this recording, have spoken directly to the theme of power.
Right. Yeah.
And they've all connected power directly to love and directly to enjoyment, which is unexpected. We tend to think of power, especially in this world, as having something to do with will, perhaps, ambition, or exploitation. What do you say? Ambition. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, the more powerful person is the physically stronger person. It has to do with muscle or grit. Not in any way is that what we see represented in life. In life, what we have is a symbiotic mechanism of exchange, which perpetually expands itself as a result of that symbiosis, as a result of that orchestration, as a result of that goodness woven into and through every single interaction, whether it's bacterial or human or planetary. It doesn't matter the scale.
Yeah.
So this isn't about muscle or grit at all. It's about the dance. When you realize that you're dancing, things begin to change. You can imagine someone bumping into an object and be like, hey, what the hell? Almost like, this table jumped out and bit you, A dancer does not do that. A dancer recognizes objects as props, as opportunities, and they move with and around them. If someone shoves an elbow into a dancer, the dancer knows how to improvise, how to adapt, how to respond because they are in tune with their environment. If someone elbows you might say, hey, why would you do that? If someone elbows a dance, the dancer responds and flows and says, thank you.
So would you say that what you're describing could be the embodiment of merging?
Oh my. Yes.
I wonder.
Yes. I hadn't thought of that.
Sounds like it.
You're merging with your life, with
right.
the environment, we could say, but ultimately with every factor of your experience. We're using a table or an elbow as an example, but how about a circumstance that you didn't see coming, which knocks you sideways and maybe terrifies you? How do you develop such a great deal of confidence in life, such a great amount of confidence in life that you can say thank you even to those circumstances that don't seem aligned? Imagine, as a purely hypothetical example, if you're employed in one way, serving a particular industry that you cannot stand, but it pays the bills. And your whole heart and life and time and energy are devoted in a different direction altogether, which doesn't seem to be a viable option for paying those bills, but absolutely does have your whole heart. And at some point along the way, you're begrudgingly going to work and begrudgingly going to work, but then pouring your whole heart into this separate avenue during your free time. And one day you go into work and you're let go. You lose your job. That is no fun. A lot of us have been there before for one reason or another. I can remember the recession back in the early 2000s. Like, a lot of people lost their job. I know I did at that time. It was terrifying. It felt like punishment. What did I do wrong? And what do I do now? We struggle to see the forest for the trees, as they say, when we meet these circumstances. The forest, in this case, is made up of whatever you're pouring your whole heart into. The dead tree you were clinging to has now broken.
Yeah.
This is, of course, a hypothetical example, but it's a relatable one. There are many different ways we tend to hold on to those things which do reveal themselves in time to be dead weight. Those could be careers, certainly. They could be certain activities or agreements. They could be people. That hurts. That's difficult because we all care. We all love. None of us want to hurt anyone. But ultimately, as our life grows and as our destiny continues to knock on the door, just saying, like, let's go.
Focus.
Yeah, focus. It's like we are rerouted.
Yeah.
And those reroutes are very much on purpose. And they're always for your benefit. So what we're trying to say is, whether it's a table or an elbow or the loss of a job, all examples, all just like hypothetical examples, learn to say thank you. We often say that there's only one appropriate prayer in life, and that prayer is, thank you, I love you. Thank you, I love you. Dear body, thank you, I love you. Even if when you look in the mirror, you don't like what you see, right? We need to learn to say thank you, I love you. We need to learn to flow. And the only way to accomplish this is revealed by this particular day signature. It's revealed by the confidence that produces poise. That confidence can only be had when you realize that you are held by a power greater than you, and that power is not only aware of you, but actually invites you to participate in its movement and is good at heart, that the power is good. Once you recognize these things, you can begin to walk the pathway of poise, because you can breathe a little easier. You can move differently, stand a little taller. That's poise. And elegance is essentially what happens as your mind relaxes into that awareness, unifies with the heart's long-term awareness of that that goodness inherent to life, and finally submits you and your story to the greater intelligence orchestrating all of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what we're dealing with here. The union of your mind and your heart, or your mind and your being in life, with the greater intelligence that's orchestrating your life is the very thing that produces the epic narrative you were meant to live. Mm-hmm. If that means a breakdown of certain things which are not epic, good.
Yeah. Yeah, because that power is always going to back your truest, deepest desires. Mm-hmm. And only those, because they're the best.
Yep.
And
yeah.
It's like, no, have the best, because we insist.
It's going to do that even when you don't have the courage to. Right. And that's why it can feel so dire and terrifying at times. But it's never punishment. It's always invitation. It's always opportunity. And it's always happening for you. So when we think in terms of partnership, we think in terms of being with a partner, in this case life, who always has your back, who's always looking out for your best, even when you don't know how to. That is, we need that. We desperately need that. All of us need that, because we can only see so far. Mm-hmm. It's very much like a parent and a child. You know, a very effective parent is capable of carrying wisdom that a child at their age simply does not have. And so there's a raising and a rearing and a guiding, which is needed early on. Even as adults, we're in the early on version of our own story. We need that guidance, and we have that guidance. We need that wisdom, and we have access to that wisdom. And we need the power to move and to act and to decide in certain ways and directions. And we have that. We're given that. That's what this day is about. We're not meant to move through life with our eyes squeezed shut, right, out of fear, usually.
No, I mean, quite the opposite. Life wants you to confront those fears and just eradicate them as quickly as possible.
Especially since half the time, all the time, if we're being honest, those fears are not actually around you. They're not in front of you. If you opened your eyes, you would see what's real. Mm-hmm. But with the eyes squeezed shut and unfortunately a practiced darkness in our imagination, we see all sorts of phantoms. Yeah. And so we're psyching ourselves out all the time. Once you open your eyes, you get real data. You get to see what's in front of you. And really, this is what seer training is all about. The guarantee is that when you open your eyes and you actually look through the clear lens of truth, you only see good. You only see benefit. You only see growth. That's an absolute guarantee. Yeah. That's what this day is about. That's what elegance is about. It's about opening your eyes and moving on purpose. That's what partnership is about. It's about being a contributing member of the life that you are here to live. And it's about knowing that the other half of that partnership is not only available to you, but so much more capable than you currently are, and so much more intelligent than you currently consciously are. That's what provides for the growth. That's what provides for the confidence to move with poise. And our recognition of that is the very thing that kind of unlocks all of it. Yeah. That's what we're seeing. Mm-hmm. The merging, it's a merging with your own life. It's like the difference between thinking about or considering what you should or shouldn't do and just going, just moving, just being, and trusting that that movement produces something. Merging is living. And that brings us, I think, to maybe our final kind of exciting discovery, which is that the 22 is first introduced in the Liberated Tarot sequence back in the 22nd card, which in the traditional tarot is known as the Fool. Mm-hmm. There's no Fool in this context. The Fool does not exist. In the 22nd card, we meet the Innocent, the one who trusts so completely. The Innocent is the most elegant, the most poised, and the most gracious of them all, because the Innocent, like the child, knows it will be fed. It will be provided for. It will be cared for. It's not worrying about how to pay bills. Mm-hmm. It's playing.
All is well.
All is well. That's right. So we meet that 22 for the first time in the final prime, in the last of 22 primes. Mm-hmm. And its prime instinct, the prime instinct of that prime, or that frequency, or this angel, however you want to look at it, the prime instinct is to live. Yep. Just live. Mm-hmm. not to consider, not to think, not to wonder, not to hope.
Yeah, weighing options, strategizing.
Right, not to strategize. Right. Oh, and that strategy, that mental effort, that forcing our way through life, attempting to make things happen, it's taking on far too much responsibility. It's the child waking up in the morning with his dad, putting on his dad's work boots and pretending to get, like he's going to get in the car and drive to work. Doesn't need to happen. Like, buddy, you get to like chill. Yeah,
life will deliver what you need to know when you need to know it. And the innocent trust that.
The innocent knows this absolutely. And so it simply moves through life in this flow of living. Living will not disinclude the mind. We're not talking about the mind as a bad thing. We're talking about connecting the mind to a root system that is capable of fertilizing and feeding the mind, right? When the mind unifies to heart, we open into that greater world, that greater intelligence, that greater dance, so to speak, that is happening all around us all the time.
Yeah. I mean, the mind, the greatest use of the mind is to be able to connect these dots and have the realization that you've always been cared for. It has the capability to be able to look at the past and see all along the way at a certain point that everything was leading to something beautiful. Wow. That is probably, I would say, the greatest use of the mind. It is not to try to figure out the future.
I would agree.
Totally an ineffective use of the mind.
So the greatest use of the mind is to marvel at the miracle.
Absolutely.
How do you, like, that is a perfect summary. Yes. That's yeah, that's it. If I could connect like a tagline to this day's signature, I would want to wrap everything up and tie it with that bow. We're meant to be conscious. The mind is not the enemy. The mind is absolutely supposed to be a participant, but within a certain context, and we just found what that is. The most effective use of the mind is to marvel at the miracle, to be surprised. Okay. So that's very much what we've been doing all day.
Yes.
Naturally, inevitably, without any effort whatsoever.
All year.
All year. That's absolutely true. and it's going to continue. And now we've had this conversation. Any of you who are viewing it or have viewed it, you get to join. You get to do the same. And it doesn't matter if you watch it today. It doesn't matter if you watch it in the month of October 2024. It doesn't even matter if you're watching it in a different year. If you're watching it, the invitation is yours. It's always an open invitation. We spoke a few conversations ago about how really what we're meeting here isn't even so much of an invitation as it is a celebration. This is too. And the reason for that is because life knows the end from the start. It knows that no matter what happens along the way, you win. No matter what happens along the way, you get that thing, that life, that experience, that paradise that you've always imagined. And as a final little clincher, the word paradise is a 44.
So is the word symbiotic.
And so is the word power. I forgot about symbiotic.
And love.
Love too?
Yes.
Love is 26.
Oh, there was love.
Oh, but love is an 8. And also in the 440, we find the connection of love and knowing and how power responds to these things.
Love seed.
Love seed is a 44.
Yes.
Okay, I like that even more. So we are very excited about this day. There's still some day left for us, hopefully also for you, especially if maybe you're on the West Coast. But regardless, know that this moment invites all of this to the surface. It celebrates what is already alive in you, and it celebrates the epic that you are living, whether you're aware of it or not. Becoming aware of it allows you to participate. It allows you to become a partner in that dance. So recognize it. Recognize it for what it is. Allow that clear light to shine on not only your current day, but your entire life leading up to this point, and also allow it to shine on the future. Understand that what's happening absolutely is happening on purpose, and it absolutely is leading you somewhere. You get to find out where that somewhere is by simply living, by meeting your life as a real thing, moment by moment, knowing you are held. That's it. We hope you can feel what we're feeling, some part of it. It's powerful. It's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
We hope this has been helpful and enjoyable. It certainly has been profound for us. We're literally going to have to go like walk it off.
Yeah.
Like integrate this. Enjoy the rest of the day. And thank you for joining us. Is there anything you would add?
No.
Okay. Then we're good to go. We'll see you tomorrow, probably earlier than this.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be sure to make you aware of the Vortex days like this one. Probably even ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, we can hint and say that at the end of the month, there will be some.
At the end of October and the beginning of November,
mm-hmm.
we've got some big things happening. So look forward to that. But in the meantime, this is what the year is about. This is what life is about. So get out there and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.